The great Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Reflecting on this wisdom from Marcus Aurelius, we're reminded that our thoughts directly shape both our reality and well-being. Just as the company we keep influences our journey, certain habits can subtly lead us away from the Stoic path. Today, we'll explore 7 anti-Stoic habits that may unknowingly creep into our daily routines and discuss how we can reclaim our Stoic direction and inner peace. Before we dive in, if you find this video helpful, please give it a like to support my mission of spreading Stoic philosophy. And if you haven't already, I encourage you to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Habit number 1, seeking external validation. Picture this. You've been working tirelessly on a project for weeks, maybe even months. You've put everything you've got into it, your creativity, energy, and passion. Finally, it's done. And instead of feeling a deep sense of pride in your accomplishment, what do? You find yourself constantly checking for likes, comments, or any kind of recognition on social media. Or maybe you've splurged on a new outfit, something that makes you feel amazing when you put it on. But rather than enjoying that feeling for yourself, you start anxiously awaiting compliments from others, hoping they'll notice and approve of your choice. In today's world, driven by the ever-present hum of social media, this need for external validation is more amplified than ever before. Social platforms thrive on our innate desire for affirmation, for that little hit of dopamine we get when someone else says, "Yes, you're doing great." It's become all too easy to measure our self-worth by the numbers, how many likes, comments, followers, or shares we can accumulate. But the truth is, relying on these metrics to define our value is like building a house on sand. The ground beneath us shifts constantly, and before we know it, we're stuck on a never-ending roller coaster of highs and lows, each one dictated by the fleeting approval of others. When we base our self-esteem on external validation, it's like being on a seesaw. Some days you're lifted high by praise, compliments, or the attention of others. You feel good, accomplished, maybe even proud. But then the next day, the validation isn't there. Maybe the likes stop coming, or a negative comment sneaks in. Suddenly, you're crashing down, questioning yourself, your work, your choices. It's an exhausting cycle, and worse, it robs you of a consistent sense of self-worth and inner peace. You're left chasing approval, not because it nourishes you, but because you've become dependent on it. But here's the thing. The Stoics would tell us that the only validation we truly need is the one we give ourselves. Stoicism teaches that real self-worth is anchored not in the opinions of others, but in our own virtues, actions, and personal growth. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters, said the great Stoic philosopher Epictetus. And he's right. The true measure of our worth isn't in the praise or criticism we receive, but in how we evaluate ourselves, in how we feel about our own actions, decisions, and the way we live our lives. Think about it. If you accomplish something significant, why is the approval of others more important than the pride you feel in your own achievement? Why should a compliment matter more than the fact that you already feel great in that new outfit? While it's nice to hear positive feedback, and yes, it can be encouraging, your sense of self-worth should be unshakable, rooted in your integrity, your actions, and your inner values. Relying on others to tell you that you're enough, or that you're doing well, leaves you vulnerable to the whims and opinions of people who may not even understand the full story of who you are. To truly embody this Stoic principle, the next time you catch yourself craving external validation, take a step back and reflect. Ask yourself, why do I need this validation? What am I seeking to gain from it? Am I proud of my actions or decisions? If the answer is yes, then that should be enough for you. External praise or acknowledgement might feel good in the moment, but it's fleeting. What stays with you, what remains solid, is the internal sense of pride and satisfaction that comes from knowing you did your best, that you acted in alignment with your values, and that you're growing as a person. Stoicism teaches us to focus on the things we can control. We cannot control how others see us, nor can we control their responses. But we can control how we view ourselves, and that is where true power lies. Feedback from others can be valuable for growth, yes, but it should never be the foundation of our self-esteem. Your worth should come from within, from your actions, your intentions, and your ability to stay true to yourself, regardless of what the world around you thinks. In a world where we are constantly bombarded with images, opinions, and judgments, it's easy to fall into the trap of seeking validation from others. But remember, the Stoic path leads us inward, to a place where our value is not dictated by the fluctuating opinions of others, but by our own steadfast understanding of who we are and what we stand for. So next time you find yourself seeking external validation, pause, reflect, and remind yourself that your worth is already there. You don't need the world's approval to feel whole. Everything you need is within you. Habit number 2, complaining about things outside your control. Imagine you're at a picnic. The weather is perfect, everyone is enjoying the sunshine, and the food is delicious. But then, dark clouds roll in, and it begins to rain. While many might simply pack up and move indoors, perhaps even enjoying the smell of the rain, there will always be those who let this unexpected change ruin their day, complaining about the weather, their bad luck, or even their damp outfits. This is a classic example of letting things outside our control dictate our mood. Life, much like the weather, is unpredictable. While we can't control external events, we can always control how we respond to them. Stoicism is built on the understanding of what we can and cannot change. Complaining, especially about things beyond our control, is a fruitless habit that drains both our time and energy, trapping us in a constant state of dissatisfaction. Take a moment to think about the workplace. We've all encountered colleagues who spend far too much time grumbling about decisions made by management or changes in company policy. Rather than adapting to the new circumstances, they fixate on their frustrations. This constant complaining not only undermines their own productivity and peace of mind, but also spreads negativity to those around them. To counter this anti-Stoic behavior, we can turn to the teachings of Epictetus, who advised we should always be asking ourselves, is this something that is or is not in my control? When faced with such situations, instead of voicing discontent, a more Stoic response would be to ask, how can I adapt to this? Or what can I learn from this experience? By shifting our mindset in this way, we take back our power, maintain our inner calm, and ensure that we remain unaffected by unpredictable external events, no matter what life throws our way. Habit number 3, being a slave to your emotions. Imagine yourself at a family gathering. Everyone's chatting, laughing, and enjoying the moment. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, a relative makes a remark about a recent decision you've made. Perhaps it's about a new job, a relationship, or even a lifestyle choice. The comment stings, even if it wasn't intended to hurt. Suddenly, a rush of emotions hits you. Anger, defensiveness, maybe even sadness. Before you have time to think, you snap back with a biting remark of your own, and in an instant, the entire atmosphere shifts. The room feels tense, and what should have been a joyful occasion has now become awkward and uncomfortable. Now take a step back and ask yourself, was that emotional outburst really the best response? Could things have gone differently if you hadn't let your emotions take control? This situation is a perfect example of what it means to be overtaken by your emotions. A scenario where feelings dictate actions, often leading to regrettable consequences. Emotions, at their core, are not inherently bad. In fact, they are essential parts of the human experience. They provide insight into our inner world and help us interpret the world around us. Anger can highlight when we feel wronged, sadness can signal loss, and joy can reinforce the things that bring us fulfillment. However, problems arise when we become enslaved to our emotions, letting them run unchecked and allowing them to govern our decisions. When this happens, we often act impulsively, without consideration for the long-term effects of our actions, and this can strain relationships, lead to unnecessary conflict, and make us feel even more out of control. The Stoics, however, offer a different path. Stoicism teaches us not to deny or suppress our emotions, but to recognize them for what they are, temporary responses that we can observe, understand, and ultimately choose not to act upon. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This Stoic wisdom serves as a reminder that while we may not be able to control how we initially feel when something happens, we absolutely have control over how we respond to those feelings. Think back to that family gathering. When your relative made that remark, your initial emotional reaction was perfectly natural. But where Stoicism comes into play is what you do next. Rather than reacting in the heat of the moment and letting your emotions dictate your response, Stoicism teaches you to pause. Take a breath. In that moment, ask yourself, is my immediate reaction to this emotion the best course of action? Will it help create harmony or just lead to more conflict? This brief pause allows you to choose a response that's aligned with your values and the kind of person you want to be, rather than reacting impulsively in a way that you might later regret. The beauty of this Stoic practice lies in its simplicity. It doesn't ask you to suppress your emotions, nor does it demand that you be emotionless. Instead, it encourages you to develop a kind of emotional resilience, one that allows you to feel your emotions without being controlled by them. This kind of emotional mastery is about recognizing that while emotions are part of life, they do not have to dictate your actions. In the workplace, for example, you might receive criticism from a colleague or manager. Your initial reaction might be frustration or defensiveness. But instead of snapping back or feeling attacked, the Stoic approach would be to pause, reflect on the validity of the feedback, and then respond with clarity and composure. By doing so, you not only maintain your peace of mind, but also preserve a positive working relationship. Adopting this Stoic approach to emotions enables you to navigate life's varied challenges with a sense of balance. It allows you to act from a place of reason, thoughtfulness, and wisdom rather than impulsive emotion. The more you practice this, the stronger your emotional resilience becomes. And over time, you'll find that fewer things are able to shake your inner peace. The next time you're faced with a surge of emotion, whether it's because of a comment from a friend, a frustrating situation at work, or an unexpected challenge, remember to pause and ask yourself, is my emotional reaction going to lead to a better outcome, or will it only create more discord? By practicing this simple pause, you'll begin to cultivate the emotional strength and clarity that the Stoics held in such high regard. In this way, Stoicism doesn't seek to rid you of your emotions, but to help you use them wisely. By mastering your emotional responses, you become the one in control of your actions, ensuring that your life is guided by reason and virtue, rather than by the temporary ups and downs of emotional reactions. And in doing so, you'll discover a sense of inner peace and strength that's far more lasting than the fleeting satisfaction of an emotional outburst. Habit number 4. Pursuit of excess pleasure. Picture yourself stepping into an extravagant feast. The table stretches out before you, covered with all manner of delicious foods, succulent meats, rich desserts, and an endless supply of drinks. It's tempting to indulge in it all without restraint. The initial joy of savoring each bite is undeniable, but by the evening's end, you might find yourself feeling overstuffed, uncomfortable, and perhaps even regretful. This scenario highlights the seductive yet fleeting allure of excessive pleasure, and it's one many of us can relate to. Life is filled with pleasures, whether it's the taste of a fine meal, the thrill of buying something new, or the excitement of a luxurious experience. These pleasures are part of the human experience, and enjoying them isn't inherently wrong. But when we become overly focused on constantly seeking these fleeting joys, we can find ourselves caught in a cycle that ultimately leaves us feeling empty. That initial rush of happiness is often temporary, and it may mask a deeper void that we're trying to fill. The more we chase these pleasures, the more elusive true contentment becomes. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, offers a powerful reminder of the danger in this pursuit. In his words, slavery resides under marble and gold. By this, he meant that those who become too attached to material pleasures, who believe that happiness lies in wealth or luxury, are not truly free. They become slaves to their desires, endlessly chasing after the next pleasurable experience, yet never feeling truly satisfied. It's as if they're running on a treadmill, always striving for the next high, but never reaching a point of lasting fulfillment. Let's consider how this plays out in the modern world. Take, for example, the allure of technology. When the newest smartphone is released, many rush to get it. The excitement of unboxing it, of having the latest and greatest device is real. But how long does that excitement last? More often than not, it quickly fades, only to be reignited by the next product launch. The cycle repeats itself, an endless pursuit of the next thing, the next upgrade, but the lasting joy we seek always seems just out of reach. Another example is the culture of binge-watching television shows. It's easy to lose hours, even days, immersed in a series, and the immediate gratification is undeniable. But once the series ends, does it leave you with a deep sense of fulfillment, or do you feel a sort of emptiness, wondering what to do next? That's the paradox of excessive pleasure. While it feels good in the moment, it rarely offers the kind of lasting satisfaction we're truly searching for. So, how do we escape this cycle? The key, as the Stoics would advise, lies in cultivating an attitude of moderation. It's not about denying ourselves the pleasures of life, but about enjoying them in a way that aligns with our long-term well-being. Before diving headfirst into the next indulgence, take a moment to pause and reflect. Is this pursuit adding real value to my life, or am I simply seeking a temporary high? This kind of introspection helps us separate the pleasures that truly enrich our lives from those that offer only a fleeting escape. For example, instead of constantly upgrading to the latest tech gadget just for the thrill of it, we might ask ourselves, is my current device serving me well? Am I seeking this upgrade because it's truly necessary, or am I simply chasing the novelty? Similarly, when we find ourselves tempted to binge-watch yet another show, we might consider, is this the best use of my time, or am I avoiding something more meaningful? These small moments of reflection can make a big difference in how we engage with the world around us. The Stoic path encourages us to focus on what brings genuine contentment, rather than what provides momentary pleasure. This means recognizing that the endless pursuit of excess, whether it's food, material goods, or entertainment, often leaves us feeling unfulfilled in the long run. Instead, we can choose to seek out pleasures that contribute to our personal growth, our relationships, and our sense of purpose. These are the pleasures that provide deeper, more sustained joy. Take, for instance, the simple pleasure of sharing a meal with loved ones. While the food might be delicious, the real satisfaction comes from the connection and the conversations shared around the table. Or consider the joy that comes from helping others. Acts of kindness, even small ones, often leave us with a sense of fulfillment that far surpasses the fleeting happiness of indulging in material excess. By ensuring that our desires align with long-term well-being rather than the pursuit of transient highs, we position ourselves to experience a richer, more meaningful life. We stop chasing after the next fleeting thrill and instead focus on building a life grounded in values, purpose, and true contentment. This doesn't mean we can't enjoy life's pleasures, but we do so with intention, mindfulness, and moderation. In the end, the Stoic approach to pleasure teaches us that true happiness doesn't come from constantly seeking more. It comes from knowing when enough is enough, and from finding joy in the things that truly matter. So the next time you find yourself tempted to overindulge, remember to pause and reflect. In doing so, you'll discover that the deepest and most lasting pleasure comes not from excess, but from balance and thoughtful moderation. Habit number 5, living in the past. Picture yourself sitting on your porch on a serene evening, a soft breeze flowing by. But instead of immersing yourself in the beauty of the sunset before you, your thoughts are far away, tangled in memories of past events. Maybe it's a mistake that haunts you, an opportunity that slipped through your fingers, or the memory of someone long gone. While it's natural to reminisce, dwelling on the past can trap you, keeping you from fully embracing the present. Being stuck in past regrets or moments of sorrow is like carrying an invisible weight on your shoulders. It's heavy, it slows you down, and it blurs your ability to appreciate the beauty and opportunities around you. Each time you relive a past moment, you hand it control over your present, letting it occupy mental and emotional space that could be better spent engaging with the here and now. Epictetus, the great Stoic philosopher, once said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them." What this means is that much of our suffering comes not from the events themselves, but from how we choose to hold on to them, reliving them again and again in our minds. The past only has the power that we continue to give it. Take the story of two old friends who meet again after many years. One is full of regret, lamenting missed chances and lost relationships, unable to escape the shadow of what was. The other speaks with a sense of peace, reflecting on lessons learned, expressing gratitude for the present, and looking forward to the future with excitement. Both have lived through the same passage of time, yet their outlooks couldn't be more different. The key to freeing yourself from the grip of the past is cultivating mindfulness. When you catch yourself slipping into old memories, gently bring your attention back to the present moment. Engage in activities that anchor you in the now, whether it's journaling, meditating, or taking a walk where you truly notice the sights and sounds around you. Each day is a fresh opportunity, a blank page waiting to be written. By focusing on the present and treating today as the only moment that truly matters, you release the hold the past has on you. This mindset shift empowers you to move forward, write new chapters, and shape a future filled with joy, growth, and meaning. Habit number 6. Fear of the future. Imagine waking up in the morning, but instead of feeling energized for the day ahead, your mind races with worries about what could go wrong. Will you make the right decision at work? What if something unexpected happens? These thoughts snowball, turning into anxiety about things that haven't even happened yet. The fear of the future, while often rooted in genuine concerns, can become a powerful barrier to living a fulfilled life. When we focus excessively on what might happen, we rob ourselves of the peace and contentment available in the present. Worrying about potential outcomes is like trying to walk while looking down the road miles ahead instead of where you're currently stepping. The result is a constant feeling of unease, and you may miss out on the moments right in front of you. In Stoic philosophy, the idea of focusing on the present is paramount. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, advises us to live in the present, for it's the only moment we truly have control over. The future is unpredictable, and fearing it does not change its course. Instead of allowing fear to dominate, the Stoics encourage us to prepare ourselves mentally and emotionally for whatever may come, without attaching ourselves to any specific outcome. One effective way to combat the fear of the future is by practicing negative visualization. A Stoic exercise where you briefly imagine the worst-case scenario, not to dwell on it, but to accept that it could happen and recognize your ability to endure it. By doing this, we train our minds to be resilient, to acknowledge that while we cannot predict the future, we can prepare ourselves to handle it with grace and composure. Consider the story of someone about to start a new job. One person might spend weeks worrying about whether they'll be liked, if they'll succeed, or if the job will be what they expected. This constant fear turns what should be an exciting new chapter into a source of anxiety. Another person, however, might acknowledge the uncertainty, but focus instead on what they can control, how prepared they are, how they plan to approach challenges, and the skills they bring. By releasing fear and embracing confidence in themselves, they walk into the future with openness rather than dread. To break free from the shackles of future fears, practice being present. When worries about the future creep in, remind yourself of what you can control today, in this moment. Engage in activities that ground you, like mindfulness or deep breathing exercises, and reflect on the Stoic principle that you have the power over your mind, not external events. By doing so, you reclaim your peace of mind and navigate the path ahead with a sense of calm and purpose. Habit number 7. Seeking perfection in everything. Imagine this. You're hosting a dinner party at your home. The atmosphere is warm, the guests are laughing, and the food is being enjoyed by all. But instead of savoring the joy of the moment, you find yourself consumed by minor details, the slightly oversalted dish, or the one napkin that isn't perfectly folded. This fixation on achieving perfection in every small aspect prevents you from appreciating the bigger picture, the happiness and connection shared by your guests. In today's world, social media has amplified this pressure to be perfect. We are constantly exposed to picture-perfect lives, flawless appearances, impeccable homes, ideal relationships, and dream careers. This creates an almost unattainable standard, pushing us onto a relentless treadmill of perfectionism, where no achievement ever feels enough. Seneca warned against this mindset, saying, "To wish for perfection is the surest way to become unhappy." Stoicism teaches us that this quest for perfection can lead to a constant feeling of inadequacy, frustration, and even burnout. Think of an artist working on a masterpiece. If they became paralyzed by the pursuit of perfection, they might never finish their work. Instead, they recognize that beauty often lies in the imperfections, and that the sum of the work matters far more than its minor flaws. This same perspective can be applied to life. Trying to control every detail, perfect every task, or avoid every mistake only adds unnecessary pressure. More importantly, it pulls us away from enjoying the present and recognizing the value of our efforts. To move away from perfectionism, we need to embrace the concept of good enough. This doesn't mean settling for mediocrity, but understanding that striving for excellence and seeking absolute perfection are not the same. The pursuit of excellence is about doing your best, learning and growing, while perfectionism is an endless and often self-defeating cycle. When you find yourself caught in perfectionist tendencies, ask yourself, is this really important in the grand scheme of things? Will this small detail matter a week, a month, or even a year from now? By shifting your focus to the bigger picture, you can release yourself from the constraints of perfectionism and enjoy life with a greater sense of balance and contentment. As we reflect on the teachings of the Stoic sages, one thing becomes clear. Self-awareness and introspection are essential in living a balanced and resilient life. Today, we explored 7 anti-Stoic habits, behaviors that, if left unchecked, can hinder our growth and disrupt our inner peace. Stoicism isn't about being perfect, it's about progress. It's about refining our mindset, learning from each experience, and aligning our actions with our values. Take a moment to reflect on these habits. Are any of them present in your life? And more importantly, how can you begin to course correct? I encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments below. Which of these habits resonated with you the most? Have you encountered other habits that challenge your Stoic journey? Let's create a space for vibrant discussion, reflection, and mutual growth. Thank you for joining me on this exploration. Until next time, may you find serenity and strength in the Stoic way.